Hello guys, welcome to Academic Solutions online tutoring program in partnership with Civic Colleges. Together we are making it easy with Level Up. Welcome to Grade 10 Life Sciences. Today we are doing the 5-kingdom system and the biodiversity and classification. Okay, the 5-kingdom system uses the prokaryotes and eukaryotes to organize the organisms. So we have we take a system. We have the autotrophs, which are your plants, as they are able to manufacture their own food. And then we've got the heterotrophs, which are your consumers, as they cannot make their own food, so they depend on the autotrophs. And then we have the saprotrophic organisms. These are the decomposers, as they feed on dead organisms. So we have the kingdom, and we are looking at its characteristics, what makes that kingdom. The first kingdom we are going to look at is the Monera Kingdom, which is microscopic unicellular prokaryote, known as it's a living fossil, and it lives under extreme environments such as the icy cold and the extreme vents in the ocean. And it can be autotrophic or heterotrophic. So some of the prokaryotes are able to manufacture their own food, whereas others are unable to produce their own food. Some of them are harmful, whereas some of them are useful bacteria. So now let's look at the Protista, which is a protozoa that is also unicellular, which means it is single-celled, unlike human beings or eukaryotes, which are multicellular. So algae is autotrophic, so it can produce its own food, but most of them are heterotrophic, so they cannot make their own food. Now let's look at kingdom Mycota, which is the fungal kingdom with multicellular eukaryotes, and so they are heterotrophic, as they cannot produce their own food. And then we have kingdom Plantae, with plants that are eukaryotes and also multicellular. So the green plants have cells with cell walls of cellulose and nuclei. So the species of this kingdom are autotrophic, so they are able to produce their own food, obviously because it's a plant with the presence of chlorophyll, which is a green pigment which enables them to produce their own food efficiently. And then we have Animalia Kingdom, which is of eukaryotic and multicellular organisms with cells that have the nuclei without the cell wall, as we know that cell wall is only present in the plant cell. It is the outermost covering, and they also can live in water. Let's proceed to the naming of things in science, starting off by the dichotomous key, which is one of the methods that is used by scientists in order to come up or to generate names for organisms. So this dichotomous key method was used to identify unknown plants and animals. Therefore, it is the classification key. So scientific names of organisms should be printed in italic or underlined if you are writing on hand. This is an example of dichotomous key. It uses the common and uncommon features in animals to distinguish between them in order to give them their names. Okay, this is a table with the taxonomic classification of living organisms, and here the most common organisms are used in order for you to get a better understanding of how organisms are given names or how they are classified. We have classification levels, which are the domain, your kingdom, the phylum, the class, the order, family, genus, as well as the species. So if we speak of classification levels, the hierarchy of classification, you should know all these levels, and you should be able to filter each organisms under all this classification level. So the first organism that we have is the pear, which is a form of a plant. So its domain is Eukarya, and it falls under the kingdom Plantae, phylum Magnoliphyta, and the class of Magnolipsida, order of Fables, and the family of Fabaceae, genus Persum, as and the species is P. sativum. I'm not good with some of these names, as some of them are so bombastic, but I hope I'm getting them right. Now let's look at the fruit fly organism with the domain Eukarya, Its kingdom is Animalia. The phylum, it's an arthropoda. Class of Insecta, so it's an insect. And the order of Diptera. Family of Drosophilidae. And its genus is Drosophila. And the species name is D. melanogaster. Let's look at dog, which is under the domain of Eukarya as well. Kingdom Animalia, it's one of the animals. Phylum Chordata, it has a spinal cord, backbone. Class of Mammalia. Order, it's a carnivora, as you know, it's a carnivorous plant animal. The family of Canidae. Its genus is Canis, and its species is C. familiaris. Now let's look at the domestic animal. Its domain is Eukarya, kingdom Animalia, phylum Chordata, class of mammals, so it's Mammalia. Order, it's Carnivora, so it's a carnivore. Family, it's Felidae, and the genus is Felis, and its species is F. domesticus. And lastly, we have organism, human, which falls under eukaryote domain, kingdom Animalia, phylum Chordata, class Mammalia, order it's a primates, family Hominidae, genus Homo, and lastly its species name is Homo sapien, so H. sapien. Okay, since we have covered all that we have managed to cover so far, please do me a favor and test yourself on the following questions. This will help you to see if you are indeed learning or just scanning through things, but they're not sticking into your head, which is not gonna be a very good thing for your upcoming exams and everything. Remember, you are learning to gain knowledge and become more informative about things around you. So when you learn, make sure you understand. Okay, this is the end of our lesson. Until next time, thank you guys.